Saturday, February 7th, 2015. I am JTG, James Thomas Green, and this is an instant review, so to speak, of a play I just saw tonight called The Story of My Life. It was held at the Box Theater at Christopher High School in Gilroy. And even though it was at a high school, it wasn't a high school performance. What else can I say about it? It was done by the Odyssey Theater Group. And it was directed by my theater professor for Introduction to Theater at Hartnell, Dennis Beasley, who also was in the play, playing Alvin, one of the characters. Now I'm going to give a little review of the play, summary, so if you're into spoilers, now's the time to tune out. Okay, if you're still here, spoilers. Alvin is dead. Got the whole story. Okay, that'll make more sense. It's kind of a meta thing with the It's a Wonderful Life, because that keeps coming up throughout the storyline. I'm not going to go too great a detail into the story, because it's a very good story. It's basically about two people, Tom and Alvin. Tom is a writer, and moderately successful at least. He's got book sales and so forth. And he and Alvin were childhood friends. And it ends up that Thomas ends up leaving the community, leaving his friend Alvin behind, who, like George Bailey in some ways, stayed because he had responsibilities in the community. He didn't have, as far as I can tell, anyone like Mr. Potter after him. But we don't know that. I mean, well, this is fiction. As they say, we only know what happened is from the fiction, is what's written. So it's fiction. Make up anything else you want from the rest of it. It seemed like whoever the writer is, and I can't really read who the author of this play was, it sounded very much like it was an actual story. Thomas and Alvin were very close through their childhood until Thomas left, and he came back several times, but they were always saying goodbye. It was just the two people in the play. There was piano and some string instrument, probably a violin, playing, that set a lot of the mood for the story. And there was a theme of blue. The set was very simple, just a few pieces, a table, some bookcases to represent the bookstore that Alvin took over from his father. A lot of the story was about, at first, Thomas was coming to write the obituary, or a eulogy, because you say nice things about someone after you die, it's called a eulogy, for Alvin's father. And he ended up only coming up with a play, with an old poem, a very nice old poem, but a poem from somebody else, a dead poet. And Alvin took offense to that why can't, it's a nice poem, but I wanted you to write something. And so, yes, I know this is very disjointed, but this is just my notes, because I'm going to write up a more thorough review later for Dennis Beasley's class. So this is more my instant notes. I might start doing this with other things too, like movies and so on. Just my instant thoughts. So anyway, the last time they see each other, that's kind of as a fight. And the last bit of it is Tom, who's giving the eulogy for his friend Alvin. Let me tell you a story about Alvin. It was kind of a very touching scene, touching play, very emotional, very tearjerker kind of way in some ways. About friendships, how friendships fade apart, and how you really don't know what happened, what the, did he fall or did he jump kind of thing. Did he fall into the river or did he jump off the bridge? And you're left with questions. Why does anyone do anything? I mean, how much do you really know even your best friends? So, I think that's enough about the story. You can go watch the play if you want to see more about the story. I very much recommend it. And I hope that it gets more performances, and I could see it being made into a good movie. I wouldn't mind being the one to make it into a movie, depending on who has the rights to it and what they want to do with it. The set was fairly simple, like I said. Everything was painted blue, except a podium, which was sort of used as a it was a speaking platform several times for both Alvin and Thomas. It looked kind of like a church memorial sort of setup. It was not blue. It had a blue something blue, a blue cloth hanging over the front. I don't know if there's a specific name for that sort of thing. But the podium itself was blue. It was brownish, and that could be, maybe there's a symbolism for that being the only non-blue piece of furniture in the room. Or maybe they just didn't have the budget to paint it blue, and therefore, I don't know if you'd say ruin it, but change it from its natural wood color to blue. So I don't know if it was probably symbolic, probably not symbolic, probably just if they had an unlimited budget, maybe they would have painted it blue. And I'm not really sure what blue would signify in this. There's a lot of things it could signify. And I'm sure it must have some significance to whoever did it. Again, was the blue something in the script, or was it something from the set designer of this particular performance, and somebody else doing this performance might be red or natural colors or blah blah blah. So my mind is about drained at this moment. I'm sure there's a lot more to say about it than I'm saying right now. But it was 2 acts with a 15-minute intermission. So, very interesting, very simple, but a lot of dialogue, so I imagine they did a lot of dialogue. They did a lot of both actors did a lot of running around, not necessarily running around, but physical activity, flexing, getting on the ground, making snow angels, crawling through desks and tables and under and here and there, and I mean, it wasn't quite like ballet and Swan Lake and dancing, but there was there was a little bit of physical exertion going on there. And so with that, I will wrap this up. I am JTG, and that was my instant review of The Story of My Life.